Hello again, we're the Bachelor Boys. I'm Jim.
I'm Art.
We're pretty disillusioned with the world and humanity in general right now.
Today we watched a movie called Bronx Executioner. This Italian post-apocalyptic piece of garbage from 1989. And it was one of the worst films we have ever seen collectively.
Without a doubt. Look at this here cover. It's just an eye. It was so mystifying to us. There's no screenshots on the back. We knew nothing about the movie. But it just haunted us from the shelf of a newsagent until I spent $10 of my dollars on it.
Look at this mystifying tagline. Androids and humans are living together and everybody's dying to eat. What could that possibly mean? Is it implying that this is some kind of a cybernetic cannibal film?
Well, that would have been awesome. But instead what we've got is Blade Runner if it was written by a chimp, directed by a monkey, only about 4 times worse than that.
The film starts out with footage of random obsolete electronic equipment. So I guess it's supposed to be the future or something.
Upon doing some research, we discover that this is actually all, in fact, video editing equipment. Wow.
So if it's New York in the future, especially a post-apocalyptic future, why does New York look like this?
Anyway, soon the actual movie starts up, and it's not long before it becomes clear that it doesn't make any friggin' sense.
From what we can gather, there are these warring gangs of androids and humanoids. Now we can't figure out what the difference is between them, other than apparently androids are evil and humanoids are good. But that's the only difference. I mean, they both look and act like normal humans.
Yeah, and apparently the Bronx has become a bunch of sand dunes and dirt roads.
Just look at this battle between the androids and the humanoids. We just don't know what the hell is going on or who's shooting who. It's just a bunch of guys tumbling down dirt hills. That's most of the movie.
And why do they just tumble down like that? Could they not afford squibs? Or at least ketchup?
Why are they even fighting each other anyway?
I don't know, man.
Anyway, eventually the supposed hero of the film is introduced in this bizarre scene where he's stalked by some kind of a floating rifle or something.
He meets this black man.
But everybody just calls me the black man.
Who tells him he has to do something and combat someone.
The black man gives a huge exposition about how the androids and the humanoids hate each other for some reason, and that it's his job to keep the peace. Why is the job of controlling the entire Bronx, which is a futuristic war zone, given to one frail old black man?
So the other guy begins training to aid the old man as his deputy or something. It's really dumb and confusing. Now you may have noticed that Woody Strode, who plays the black man, never actually appears in a single shot with the hero guy.
That's because, believe it or not, Woody Strode never acted in Bronx Executioner. Every time he appears on screen, it's footage from an earlier film called Final Executioner.
In fact, about half of the footage in this film is recycled from Final Executioner. That is just more than my fragile little mind can handle.
You really gotta hand it to director Vanya Amici. He not only stole half a film that wasn't his, but he credited Woody Strode with appearing in his film, even though it was all entirely archival footage. That takes a lot of balls.
That'd be like if we credited Ron Perlman for appearing in our review.
Since when were you in goddamn charge?
Oh, come on, Ron!
Must be a chick thing.
Are you calling us girls, Ron?
Thanks, Ron.
The only cast member to appear in both Bronx Executioner and Final Executioner is apparently this woman who plays Margie, the leader of the androids and the lead villain.
The fact that the lead villain is named Margie is probably the only thing this movie has going for it. Although she doesn't really look like a villain.
Yeah, she kind of looks like a hot mum.
It also stars Alex Vital, who you might remember as Jacoda from Strike Commando.
Here he is playing his usual stumpy skinhead character, here named Dakar.
However, the guy who dubs his voice is a total jobber, making him sound like an angry man-child. At one point, he's driving through a dirt road for about 10 minutes, just whining over a two-way radio.
She's a murderer. And she just hates us so damn much.
Apparently Dakar is the leader of the humanoids, whose manufacturing defect is he can love.
I mean, I love her.
He's apparently in love with a girl who appears completely out of nowhere, running through the wasteland, only to be captured by Margie and her ugly goons.
No, it's not your...
Then comes a completely arbitrary rape scene that seems like the filmmakers were trying to make some kind of shocking and poignant moment.
Not only that, everyone has their pants on.
So eventually Bronx Executioner, he hasn't actually executed anyone yet, teams up with Dakar and some nameless guys to make one final assault on Margie's fortress, which looks like this distinctly Italian villa.
This part of the movie was probably the most painful for us, because it's just so plodding and non-eventful.
This sneaking around goes on for about 15 minutes before anything happens.
When is he gonna start executing?
Come on.
Eventually stuff does start to happen in the form of guys shooting at other guys.
Here's Dakar choking an old man.
Another thing about this film is the ridiculous lack of continuity. Just look at this scene where Dakar is fighting with Shark. So Shark pins down Dakar and runs away. Dakar isn't even up yet.
But in the next shot, Dakar is the first to run through, followed by Shark. How could they possibly miss something like that?
I guess that's what happens when a film's director is the same guy who edited Troll 2.
Another thing this film does is use 2 takes of the same shot and try to make it look like 2 different shots.
Hey, what's wrong up there? Why the shooting?
Another thing this film does is use 2 takes of the one shot and try to make it look like 2 separate shots.
So you may be wondering, surely there's some decent gore, some decent special effects. Well, this is pretty much as good as it gets.
I don't ever want to watch another film again for fear of one turning out as bad as Bronx Executioner.
It's really that bad, people.
How bad? Well, it's so bad that this time around, our top 5 is going to be things you can do other than watch Bronx Executioner. Read a book.
Play a game.
Play some D&D. Ah, miss.
Stare at a friend.
Just stare.
So true, funny how it seems, always in time, but never in line for dreams. Head over heels, went toe to toe. This is the sound.